It is 5:30 hours over the northern Sea of Azov, a geopolitical flashpoint that functions as a confined electronic battlespace. The atmospheric conditions are minimal, low cloud cover, moderate sea state, and a digital fog created by intense, ongoing electronic warfare. An isolated, high-alert engagement is unfolding at a knife-edge range between a Russian Project 21631 Buyan-M-class missile corvette and a highly coordinated Ukrainian unmanned aerial vehicle, UAV, swarm. This is not a contest of brute force, it is a clinical study in asymmetrical warfare, designed with surgical precision to analyze whether networked, disposable autonomy can neutralize a high-value, conventionally armed naval platform not through sinking, but through systemic neutralization and ISR degradation. The target ID, the Project 21631 Buyan-M-class missile corvette, displacing approximately 949 metric tons, is a critical naval asset. It functions as a forward-deployed, high-value launch platform for 8 Kalibr, SSN-27 Sizzler, land attack cruise missiles housed within its 3S-14 Vertical Launch System, VLS. Its primary mission is area denial and strategic deterrence, projecting a constant, extensive threat ring against Ukrainian coastal infrastructure, ports, and critical shipping lanes. The Ukrainian objective, executed by specialist aircrew operating from a dispersed inland command post, is kinetic suppression of enemy air defenses, SAD, and command, control, communications, computers, and intelligence, C4I Neutralization. The goal is to strip the corvette of its networked awareness, sever its fire control connectivity, and render its offensive missile battery silent, all while adhering to a restrictive mandate against explicit destruction of the hull. This analytical narrative will dissect the technical principles, the physics of engagement, and the crew's real-time tactical decisions during this interaction, focusing exclusively on sensor performance, electronic countermeasures, and procedural discipline under immense stress. The main action commenced when the corvette's primary early warning radar, the Podlet-K1 low-altitude target acquisition radar, detected multiple low observable tracks at maximum operational range. The Podlet-K1, designed specifically to counter low-flying threats such as cruise missiles and aircraft, registered the tracks as small, fast, and extremely low on the horizon, exploiting the radar horizon shadowing effect where the curvature of the Earth helps mask low-flying objects. These initial contacts were not the main strike elements but a dedicated suppression of electronic warfare, SAW, wave composed of RAM-2 Decoy Munitions and high-speed UJ-25/UJ-26 airframes. The tactical intent of this opening salvo was sensor saturation and radar cross-section, RCS, manipulation. The RAM-2 decoys rushed toward the vessel's forward sensor arc. These munitions are engineered with sophisticated RCS enhancement technology, designed to emulate the physical signature of larger, more consequential conventional aircraft on the P-18-2 Prism 2D surveillance radar display. This flood of false echoes is a classic overload attack. Inside the corvette's dimly lit Combat Information Center, CIC, the involved aircrew operating under a compressed observe, orient, decide, act, OODA Loop, were instantly forced to prioritize and distinguish between genuine strike elements and phantom returns. The ship's integrated TK-25E electronic warfare, EW, suite was immediately activated, initiating a rapid frequency hopping sequence in an attempt to corrupt the UAV's Global Navigation Satellite System, GNSS's guidance and data links, forcing them to rely on less precise inertial navigation. This flood of false echoes is a classic overload attack. Inside the corvette's dimly lit Combat Information Center, CIC, the involved aircrew operating under a compressed observe, orient, decide, act, OODA loop, were instantly forced to prioritize and distinguish between genuine strike elements and phantom returns. The ship's integrated TK-25E electronic warfare, EW, suite was immediately activated, initiating a rapid frequency hopping sequence in an attempt to corrupt the UAV's Global Navigation Satellite System, GNSS's guidance and data links, forcing them to rely on less precise inertial navigation. They maximized the look-down vulnerability of naval air defense systems, which often struggle to differentiate between sea clutter and genuine, low RCS targets. A crucial, non-catastrophic hit was registered when one high-speed airframe successfully detonated against the forward mast assembly, causing immediate and critical power loss to the Podlet-K1 array. The shockwave and resulting electrical cascade essentially blinded the track ID across its critical forward sector, drastically shortening the time to react for subsequent inbound threats. The primary tactical why behind this aggressive engagement was the execution of a systemic OODA Loop Disruption, forcing the crew to expend their critical decision-making time filtering noise and rerouting command authority rather than allocating missiles or rounds against genuine, high-threat targets. The second wave intensified the electronic and physical pressure. The Repellent 1 Electronic Countermeasures (ECM) system aboard the corvette stretched the air with focused beam jamming, attempting to introduce a significant signal-to-noise ratio (SNR) degradation into the drone's receiver antennae. The Ukrainian operators responded by activating a new generation guidance software on their follow-up drones, the slower, heavier Bober loitering munitions. These airframes, carrying a heavy, Monroe effect principle-shaped charge, exhibited advanced frequency hopping/anti-jamming resiliency in their guidance packages, allowing them to correct their course through the ECM haze with stubborn persistence. The ship's defense crews responded with a flurry of PK-10 chaff/decoy launches, which created temporary, dense clouds of metallized strips that painted massive, false radar returns, overwhelming the seekers on any incoming drone that was using an active radar homing head. For critical seconds, confusion reigned in the CIC as officers struggled to correlate the optical sightings of tracers and fireballs with the ghost echoes on their screens. The turning point that momentarily resolved the acute high alert status was not an act of weaponized dominance, but a coordinated hard-turn maneuver coupled with a rapid, high rate of fire response from the remaining functional Panzer S-1 system. The involved aircrew, recognizing the UAV's reliance on a stable attack vector for final phase GNSS correction, ordered a rapid course alteration designed to exploit the principle of kinematic energy bleed. This sharp turn forced the inbound drones to expend crucial velocity and fuel on severe course correction, making them less stable and therefore more vulnerable to the terminal homing phase, THP, of the Panzer's engagement envelope. Simultaneously, the Panzer S-1 crews, switching their 30mm cannon from fully automated tracking to a manual optronic tracking system where possible, focused their fire directly into the predicted flight paths of the heaviest Bober elements. This concentrated application of high-density kinetic force succeeded in interception and deterrence. One of the final, critical Bober munitions, carrying a charge specifically designed to perforate the armor plate protecting the 3S14 VLS magazine or the bridge spaces, was successfully engaged and disintegrated just meters from the port side of the hull. This procedural discipline, coupling a complex, counter-kinematic response with a focused defensive volley, prevented the immediate and catastrophic failure that the heavy-shaped charge was designed to deliver. The crew's ability to transition seamlessly between automated and manual defense modes, a hallmark of disciplined training, bought the critical minutes needed for damage control parties to respond. In the digital battlespace, information is the only hard currency, and losing it is often a matter of terminal velocity. The final resolution resulted in a confirmed and successful mission kill for the Ukrainian operators, achieved without a hull kill. The Track ID, the Buyan-M-class missile corvette, survived the engagement and remained afloat, a testament to the robust, multi-layered compartmentalization of its core hull design. However, the vessel's combat effectiveness was severely degraded below a functional threshold. The cumulative effect of the precision strikes, the loss of the Podlet-K1 array, damage to a secondary P-18-2 Prism 2D radar, and the detonation of a lighter airframe against the starboard Panzer housing meant the vessel had lost its ability to effectively command and control both its long-range surveillance and its embedded Kalibr strike missiles. A copper jet, formed by the shaped charge of a later strike, had severed critical data conduits near the main mast, forcing consoles in the CIC to go dark and effectively neutralizing the C4I systems necessary for long-range offensive operations. The vessel was now functionally blind and unable to execute its original mission profile of strategic missile launch, effectively neutralizing its strategic value for the foreseeable future. The primary lesson learned from a technological standpoint is the urgent need for highly distributed aperture systems, DAS, and massively redundant sensor architecture to counter swarm attacks that prioritize the progressive degradation of single-point sensor arrays. Tactically, the engagement emphasized the critical nature of crew endurance and procedural adherence under extreme, saturated duress, demonstrating that even sophisticated systems are only as resilient as the human operators managing the rapid cascade of system failures. The strategic takeaway from this high-alert interception is that asymmetrical warfare at sea has fundamentally shifted the cost-exchange ratio in favor of precision autonomy. A highly networked swarm of inexpensive, expendable airframes demonstrated the tactical capability to inflict a mission kill on a conventionally armed naval asset costing hundreds of millions of dollars, forcing it from the operational theater for protracted and prohibitively costly repairs, if they are even possible at all.
Down 5 meters.
Modern naval power no longer resides solely in armor thickness or missile volume, but overwhelmingly in the resilience and redundancy of its sensor layer and the speed of its computational decision cycle. This event serves as a crucial case study for defense ministries and NATO analysts globally, proving that the future of maritime conflict will be decided by the integrity of interconnected digital systems and the unerring skill of the involved aircrew to manage a complex, multi-domain, high-density threat environment. This clash of doctrine proves that a single corvette knocked out of the fight means immediate, tangible changes to regional risk profiles, safer convoys, lower insurance rates, and a powerful strategic message that endurance does not always belong to the bigger, more heavily armored ship. The era of the undisputed capital ship is increasingly fragile, the digital battlespace is unforgiving of any single point of systemic failure, and the future of naval deterrence now hinges on a race for sensor supremacy and autonomous resilience.